Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are taking a look at a Bullyland figure, and this is a figure that if you recently watched my DeJenkins unboxing, you'll know exactly where this came from, as this was the third and final figure from that haul. This is from DeJenkins.com, and this is the 1/30th scale Bullyland Triceratops, and it is really cool looking. Initially, when I had first started to review Bullyland figures, and actually the very first one that I picked up, which I think was the Stegosaurus, I was really happy about the figure, but at the same time, I wasn't so sold on Bullyland in general. I kind of felt at that time that maybe they weren't the best, in which, I mean, you can't really ever state that any company truly is the best. It's kind of impossible to tell that, but they weren't really high on my list of companies that I was a big fan of and really wanted to get hold of figures of. However, since that review and as time goes on, my opinions have changed quite a bit, and actually the Bullyland line in general has really grown on me since then, and I'm actually quite a big fan of it now, and I currently find myself consistently searching Bullyland figures on eBay to purchase and add to my collection, because Bullyland, a lot of their prehistoric figures are long discontinued and now very hard to get a hold of, unfortunately. So more often than not, if you can find a Bullyland figure for a good price, I would say jump on it, because you just don't see them too often anymore, especially a lot of these older retired ones. This one is also one of those figures. This one is retired. Luckily, DeJenkins still has stock of these, but I'm sure it won't last too long, so if you are interested in any of these Bullyland figures, and actually quite a few of the others that they have on there, that they have a ton of Bullyland figures that are long discontinued, I recommend going and picking them up right away before they are gone, because once they are gone, they are impossible to find. But again, this is the Triceratops. Really beautiful looking Triceratops at first glance, but the only way to truly tell is to get a closer look, so let's go ahead and do that right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, you can see how really nicely done the overall scaling is. Really nice scaling, and it almost has that kind of trademark Bullyland appearance, which honestly I have a very strong soft spot for nowadays, but I really do quite like it. You can almost get a sense of kind of musculature throughout the face as well, and I think it looks really cool. Looks like kind of a Triceratops that's been working out a lot. He's got a very muscular physique to him, that's for sure. But you can also take note to quite a bit of paint variation. There's like different variations of browns, darker and lighter browns throughout the body, not just the head sculpt, but the body in general. So they did do a great job overall on making this have a very realistic appearance as far as color tone and the paint application goes. It's a very dark coloration, which I think looks pretty nice. More often than not, you'll see a Triceratops kind of have a flashier look up on the frill. You don't really see that here with this Bullyland version. It's primarily dark all over, which kind of leads me to believe that maybe this would be a female, as it's got a very dark appearance, has no need really for the flashiness of the frill coloration, aside from this nice light tannish brown type color that runs the border of the frill. But I think that does definitely make this kind of a female, maybe a very large female Triceratops. You can see the nostrils are sculpted out really quite nicely. The eyes are actually painted really well also. Beautiful gloss there. You can see the eyes are primarily like an orange color, and then the pupils are black, and it's kind of looking straight down at you there. If you look up at it, maybe it looks like it's got its head kind of facing down, like it's about to take a bite of some vegetation, so the eyes are actually looking in the direction that the head is going. That's really nice attention to detail on the part of Bullyland. You can see some creases and cracks and stuff in the beak of the Triceratops. The tongue is a little hard to see, but it's painted with like a pinkish color, like a dark pink, almost a maroon in there. It's a little bit hard to get in there, but it does look quite nice. The only thing about it though is that the inside of the mouth doesn't really have like the tongue sculpted out. The tongue, I guess, would basically be the inside and the bottom of the mouth, but it still looks pretty nice. Up here on the frill, you can see that the sculpt work as far as the scaling goes looks really nice, and I do quite like that they've used this kind of tannish brown and then dry brushed it over in certain areas and run it down along the center of the frill, heading for the middle of the skull. I think that really gives it a very nice appearance and a little bit of color difference that really looks quite realistic and natural on the figure. Beautifully sculpted out horns, really nicely done, but there's not too much as far as detailing goes, like minute details. You can kind of see over here, you can see a few cracks and crevices, but there's not as much as you would see probably on a more modern Triceratops sculpt, but considering this isn't a modern Triceratops sculpt, that's okay. You can see that this side really looks quite nicely done as well, and as far as the sculpt and detail and the paint application, you can again pick up on different variations of browns and stuff throughout that look really nice. The eyes are painted a little bit sloppy on this side, but not bad. They still look pretty nice. They're definitely still looking down at the ground, which makes sense as far as the pose that it's in. A few wrinkles here in the neck region. As we come back into the arm, as we come back into the front leg, you can see the hip bone is really present there. Beautiful muscle tone here in the front leg. As we get down into the feet look very nice as well when it comes to the sculpt work. And I think painting the nails the same similar color to what you see up here on the frill looks really nice. I think that plays off of the dark coloration of the body so well, but it's not too bright that it looks ridiculous or out of place. Really nice color choice for the figure, and you can pick up on all the very large scaling throughout, almost like osteoderm like scales in certain areas. We come up here, you can kind of see a line of those run along the shoulder area and mid part of the back, and then right here along in the stomach region as well, running up onto the hip. You can also take note of the very nice muscle tone here in the rear thigh. As we come down into the foot, beautifully sculpted foot. The nails are a little bit sloppily painted, but they still look really nice as far as that coloration goes. You can see kind of some wrinkling in the skin right here in the lower part of the stomach, and a little bit more of wrinkling skin right here in the back of the leg leading into the tail. And you can again see kind of like those osteoderms that lead down the tail and kind of stripe the tail. If we look at the opposing side, you can see quite a few wrinkles here in the neck of this side as well. Beautiful sculpting of very fine scaling on the rear of the frill. Looks great there also. Beautiful shoulder blade over here. Really nice muscle tone all over the place once again. Very nicely sculpted out elbows. You can really get a sense of the bone structure on this leg over here. Look how nice the sculpting of the foot is. And there's a dark wash kind of included here and there that brings the detail out really quite beautifully. You can see some more wrinkling of the skin here in the stomach region, kind of the skin bunching up a little bit as this leg is pushing into it there. You can pick up on a few areas where that light coloration that you see up here on the frill has been dry brushed, kind of like over these osteoderms that run along the same area as we saw on the opposing side. Very nice muscle tone over here. Really beautiful hip bone up there also. And the rear leg looks great as far as the paint application and sculpting of the nails and everything. The underside kind of looks like maybe the paint was rubbed off on this foot, but I don't think that's a big issue. You won't really see that ever. And then we get back here into the tail. You can see the very nice, very large scaling as we run out the tail. The tail is in a bit of a sharp curve. I mean, it's not super bad, but maybe not possible for a Triceratops. I'm not entirely sure. Kind of looks like maybe the cloaca might have been sculpted out there, but it's really hard to tell. But regardless, it's still really cool looking, and definitely, in my opinion, the best Bullyland Triceratops that I've ever seen. This Triceratops definitely has some impressive size to it as well. So for a size from the horn on the nose to the tail, you're looking at about 7.5 inches or 19 centimeters, and for a height about just under 4 inches, maybe like 3 3/4, or about 9.5, almost 10 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, and you can see next to him that this Triceratops, like I said, does have some darn good size to it, actually some decent weight to it as well. It's not super heavy, but you can see next to the Papo Rex, who is a pretty large figure, that this Triceratops definitely packs a good punch when it comes to the size. It's really sizable, and our Papo Rex buddy here would have quite the hard time taking down this Bullyland Triceratops. So this Bullyland Triceratops is really nicely done. Of course, it is definitely not the most scientifically accurate Triceratops. It is not the most up-to-date Triceratops as far as scientific accuracy goes, and I don't really know that you're ever going to find too much of that when it comes to a Bullyland figure, because most of their figures aren't highly accurate. However, that's not to say that they aren't very cool looking dinosaur and other prehistoric animal figures, and that's exactly what I see here with this Triceratops. The older I get, the more appreciation I have for older figures that I did not have in my collection before, and I get so excited to add an older retired figure to my collection every single time I get one. And a lot of these Bullyland figures have very vintage looking sculpts to them, so I really kind of get drawn to them because it's sort of like the appearance of what dinosaurs looked like when I was a kid, and anytime I see something like that, I really do get excited, and that's sort of what I see here with this Triceratops. That also follows through with the paint scheme of this because, like I said, it kind of resembles like a female, I think, with the darker coloration. But at the same time, when I was a kid, Triceratops and most dinosaurs were always these very dull, dark coloration. So the dull, dark coloration of this also really kind of takes me back to my childhood and holds a special place in my heart. I think the sculpting of this looks like your usual Bullyland sculpt as far as the scaling and detailing of the skin texture goes, but at the same time this one might be a little bit better than your average Bullyland sculpt when it comes to the skin texture. I think they've done a really good job overall on the sculpt of this though, and the paint application, like the light tannish brown type color that rims along the frill and used for the nails, looks perfect, opposed to the coloration that is that darker brown and everything. I think it all meshes off and plays off of each other so well. So this figure is incredibly cool, but like I said, it is retired, so if you are interested in picking this up, you need to head over to DeJenkins right now and order this before it is gone, because once it's gone, trust me, it is going to be very, very hard to get. Not to mention getting one with the tag and everything still on it, like you tend to get from DeJenkins, because they do come to you brand new. You can't really get much of anything cooler than that. So I will include a link in the description to this Triceratops on DeJenkins.com where I got mine, so you can go head over there right now, pick up this beautiful Bullyland Triceratops before it disappears into dinosaur history forever. But before you do that, don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.